Okay, we are. Oh, yeah. No, go ahead, Nick.
It's okay.
Okay.
This is day 6 of the federal election campaign. It was my turn. That's why Jen
that's why.
Yeah.
We usually dance like that. Okay, Mark Carney expected to be off the campaign trail today for much of the day as he hosts a meeting with Canadian premiers about tariffs in his role as Prime Minister. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh will make an announcement in Toronto today. He was in Windsor yesterday, where he promised to help the auto sector by waiving the GST on vehicles made in Canada. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre continues to campaign in BC today. Yesterday, he promised to boost the amount of money Canadians can put into tax-free savings accounts as long as it's used to support domestic economic growth.
All right, so let's get to some daily analysis of the federal election race. A little later than we planned this morning, but you know what? For good reason. CTV's political commentator Scott Reid joins us. Scott, you got a bit of breaking news about that potential conversation between Carney and Trump.
Sounds like word is breaking just now that call will proceed, and it'll proceed this morning. So again, just listening to what Jen was talking about as she sort of cataloged all of the activities from Mayor Chow to premiers to Prime Minister Carney, others on the campaign trail. Trump and tariffs hangs over this election campaign today, and it infuses every single action of every single leader. And in particular, we're going to want to watch and see what emerges from the call Carney has with Donald Trump, and then following that, a call that he has as Prime Minister with all of the premiers, debriefing them on that, and starting to move toward hard decisions and real trade-offs that we're going to make next week when the tariffs globally are implemented. And at that point, we know Canada intends to impose its own retaliatory tariffs on the United States.
So, Scott, we're just about wrapping up the first week of this federal election campaign. And, we've had stories pop up about foreign interference and Pierre Poilievre, about Carney kind of not nailing it in Quebec with the mispronunciation of names and the École Polytechnique. Do you think any of these things, and also I want to point out Danielle Smith's visit to Florida, will any of these things impact the leaders going into next week?
Those things that are directly rooted in Trump, tariff, and the hostility from the United States will continue to show up in the campaign. Some of those other issues will obviously recur. I mean, we're going to be talking about Carney, his comfort in French, and his comfort culturally in Quebec as we move toward the French language debate in 2-3 weeks. But there's just no mistaking the undeniable reality that whether it's somebody you were talking to on the street, a member of your family, a friend, or voters that are being addressed by the leaders, it is all about Trump right now. That is the defining aspect of this campaign. It's going to be the ballot question of this campaign. And those teams, those political leaders that are having difficulty adjusting to that reality, that are resistant to focusing on that issue, I think are really starting to see themselves sag in the polls. So the story of the first week is that Mark Carney has been trained like a laser on the issue of Trump, tariffs, and protecting our economy, whereas Pierre Poilievre has been running something more of a traditional time for a change campaign, and it's taken him out of sync with where Canadians and voters are at, and that's being reflected in polls that show the Liberals taking the lead.
Okay, we'll look forward to more of your analysis next week as week 2 kicks off. Scott Reid, CTV's political commentator. Always appreciate this. Thanks, Scott.